Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Said I'd do it within 2 weeks. I think it's been a lot longer than 2 weeks. It's been a lot going on here, like there genuinely has been a lot. We're down to 2 ponies, as you can see. Ignore the mess on the yard I'm doing today. So I'm in the middle of doing. But yeah, I got a lot I want to cover and a lot to talk about. Maybe some things I'll try and not, because I don't want to make it too like depressive. But some things might be like a bit triggering. I don't know, it just depends obviously what people have been through and how sensitive people can be. So I just want to give like that little warning before I go into stuff. So we'll start off with not such, you know, I guess sad things, but we're now mucked out on straw. Well, I now muck out on straw. Alice is a very big mess. Like ever since having straw, she just likes to just really make a mess of it. She's a lot harder to muck out. They have a very new obsession, which is garlic lick. I do like the smell of it, so I don't really blame them. If I was a horse, I'd probably like it. And Shadi's van is now used for storage, obviously because Shadi is now in Sunny's stable. Yeah, so we just hold in the van, like shaving, straw feed, like, you know, just stuff like that. So I'll make a start on our little, on the little story. I'm gonna have to stay in the stable because it's very windy outside and I don't think you'll be able to hear me. But, so it came to, well, Sunny was here. I don't want to make it sound bad because that's not what I'm trying to do. I just want to explain, and I do want to spread a bit of awareness, to be honest with you. So when Sunny first came here, obviously he was 4, he's quite young. And Karis obviously bought him as a project, so obviously he was here to be worked with. But if you do look back through the timelines, you will see everything happened a bit fast. And I don't want to just seem, this is like a disclaimer, I don't also want to seem like I'm just only now saying it because we're not friends. It's one of them things, and if you look at my TikTok, you can see that has been spoken about a lot between like me and obviously Kiwi, so who works on the yard here with us. It's been spoken about a lot. I just never obviously came out about it because obviously me and Karis were friends, but I am opening up about it now, obviously, since like I'm not friends with Karis, so I don't have to like hold that from her anymore, if you know what I mean. I don't want to seem like I'm just saying it to just completely like throw accusations and just, you know, I am genuinely saying it for awareness and just because I don't think it's right and it does need to be spoken about properly. I've done a few TikToks about it. I have done a few TikToks, but not really in that much depth, so you know, if anybody is watching it from TikTok and you're now watching the video, and this is like that explanation of completely like right into it. So obviously Sunny was with us, like I said previously, he was here and he was brought back. If you look back at the timeline of when Sunny was here, he was really quickly broken in. He got lunged once of my knowing while I was here. He never got long range. He didn't do much groundwork. Like, and you have got to bear in mind he came off the mountain with no experience with people at all. Same as him. So obviously you do need to then take your time a bit. So yeah, there was that. The one time that she did try and long range Sunny, it was after a day where I had just sat on his back for the first time and he'd taken off with me, which is completely fine on me because obviously he was in learning. He was just trying to, you know, it's like trial and error. Like he didn't know it was wrong because he didn't know what was right. So I was laughing about it and Karis got particularly very like annoyed about the fact that he had taken off with me into the field. Obviously we had a laugh about it and stuff like that. But as a punishment, Karis had then got Sunny on the roller and tried to long rein him, which I personally, you know, from how I am with my horses, or how I would like to be with my horses when like the time is right for them, is obviously if they do something that they don't know is wrong, you would just tell them, you know, or like show to them, like, you know, because he did handle it well. He stopped when I came off and everything. Like he was really good like that, in all fairness to him. But she was more trying to punish him by making him do something else, and obviously his head was a bit cooked because, you know, he just had someone on his back cantering around and I'd come off. It was very confusing for him as well. So yeah, she tried long reining him. Obviously, he was very worked up and overwhelmed, which is kind of understandable. And she had tied him up directly in that corner there. And with a schooling whip, hitting him. And it was one of them things that, you know, I didn't know Cerys that well then. And what she said to me a lot was that she'd broken a lot of horses in. She'd done a lot with horses. She knows that. So obviously then, and I haven't been around youngsters at all my life. Like, I've always been down the riding school. I had one horse roaming the fields, but she was never ridden. She was literally just there purely for the fight, like for the sake of being there. So I don't know much about youngsters. Obviously when she's doing that, it doesn't really give me the right to say, stop, you can't be doing that, because I haven't been around youngsters and she knows that. But after Jenny probably had a good 30 seconds of her just like shouting and like going off at him, I did come to the tack room, because I went and hid in the tack room because I didn't really like that. And I was like, oh, you know, he's fine, like, you can stop now, he's learned. She was like, no, like, you know, F this, F that, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. And that day, like, that was the start of everything, where like my mind started to turn a bit. Obviously as well, I have got other like horse friends. And obviously when I spoke to people like about stuff like this, it was like, that's wrong. And obviously that's when I started getting more wary of how she was with Sonny and how stuff was going. And yeah, so through all this, I have had help from other people. So obviously I now know that is like really not right, and I would have known that anyways, but it was just an awkward situation for me to be in. And especially when it's her horse. And, you know, I did come out and say, like, that's enough, let's stop. Obviously, she carried on. And, you know, I'm in the wrong for it, because I should have gone and physically stopped it. But it was just one of them things. The only time she's really, like, I guess, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, the only time she's really physically abused Sonny that I've seen it. The rest of the stuff then is very, like, Lil are manipulative or like mind playing for Sonny. So there's many things like, she had a lesson once, bearing in mind he'd never been in the school before, and she's putting tendon boots on him. And he's very touchy with his legs anyways, and this was literally like a known thing. Like, you know, he'd come off the mountain, same as Shadi, I can't go touch his legs, and you know, it's something I am trying to work on. And she was trying to put tendon boots on him, and he was just stood there, and you know, like physically, like, you know, getting distressed about it. And I was stood over a stable door, and again, shouting and just giving smacks and taps, and, you know, which is fair enough. If a horse is doing something wrong, you have got to tell them and show them you're in charge, or they will start walking all over you. But she does it to things where you've got to actually have a bit of leniency. Like, you know, if he didn't like it, then you obviously need to work on it, because something's bothering him. You can't blame him for getting annoyed at something that he can't do, or doesn't like to be done. So there was stuff like that, like multiple occasions, like a lot. And towards the end of her time, I did start saying to her, like, you need to just, like, or she'd do it, and she'd be like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, he's all right. And it'd be like, no, he's not. And again, in that situation, where like I'm in the wrong, because I should have most definitely like said, no, like that's enough, and drawn the line. But when it's her horse, and like I said, and she was here to help me break in Alice, it was really hard. It's just one of those situations, and I'm not good in situations like that anyways. So the second thing, which I am going to open up about and say, even though it is very wrong on my behalf, because I don't want to be hiding stuff and just make her look like a bad person. But as I said, I've not been around youngsters before. That's why Cerys primarily came here, is so that I could have a help with, you know, breaking in, just doing little things to start her going. So when she first sat on Sonny, obviously we didn't have Shadi then, and the two of them were in the yard. And stop that. Very boy. You don't want to eat that. No, let go. There you go. And so Alice is obviously there, and she turned to me, she's like, I bet you just want to, like, oh, I bet you wish you could just sit on Alice now. And like, natural, the response was like, yeah, obviously I would. Like, I'd love to sit on Alice, because, you know, like, it is a very, like, long way. It feels like such a long way away, but obviously I've committed to buying youngsters, so obviously I've got to have that patience, which I do have. So that conversation went on, and then she came and said, it won't do Alice any harm if you sit on her back like once or twice. So obviously, again, I knew, you know, I was very wary about it, and I was like, I don't know if I should be doing that. But when you have got someone who's there to help you, and again, like I said, this is like before a lot of this stuff happened, when she only first sat on Sunny. So it was, I did sit on Alice's back, like, do you know what, on a few occasions, only because I got told it was right, and I really should have done my research. Like, most definitely should have done my research. It was never like for long periods, like, you know, I would on sit for 5 minutes tops. It was never something like that was done for hours and hours, or like, she was never ridden. I never put, like, you know, stuff on her back with me on top and then getting her to move. Like, you know, she would walk around the yard with me on her back, but that was kind of not on command. It was just her moving around. So I do hold my hand up to that, saying it's wrong, because it is really wrong. When I've spoke to, like, you know, a lot of my friends with horses, and they have, like, you know, kind of lectured me and said, like, how wrong it is. So now obviously that's something that doesn't cross my mind anymore. I haven't done it, you know, since being told I shouldn't do it, because it is wrong, and I don't want to be doing something that I shouldn't be doing on Alice, because I do really love Alice a lot, and I just don't want any harm on her. My point was with that wasn't just to, like, dob myself in, even though I don't want to be trying to act like Luna's perfect, because I'm not. She was here to help me, and she was giving me a lot of false information with Alice, like, on many occasions. Many occasions. A few things that was quite obvious, like, I didn't do. Like, once she did mention saying, like, you know, to take her and walk around the field, and that was something I really drew the line at, because I wouldn't do that. Like, I don't want to sit on Alice, you know, like, I don't want to cause damage to her knowing it will, or like just, you know, rush her or anything like that, because I don't want that. I really don't want that myself. So that was one thing. I'll go on to a few more. So yeah, there was that. Other things then was literally just her rushing Sunny. Just rushing him. You know, he never got lunge, like I said, never got long rein, never did much groundwork. It was literally just tacking him up and jumping on him as soon as he was allowing that. Which, you know, I guess on a whole of it, fair play to her, you know, well done. She's obviously got lucky there that Sunny's allowing her to do all this. But on Sunny, on the other half, it really isn't fair, as he's, you know, he's very confused. He has no commands, he has no sense for anything. He's had about 2 or 3 riding lessons, but that is it. She's been taking him hunting. She's jumped about 80 odd, 90 odd on him. She's gone cantering him round fields, like taking him on like 4 or 5 mile hacks. Just things that really shouldn't be done with a 4-year-old when they've had no experience, and they literally have just been tacked up and got on. Like, there's no, like, it upsets me that obviously, like, Sunny is confused. Like, naturally he's going to be a little bit confused when it does come to things, or like she's taking him over jumps, and like she's kicking him, she's pulling his head, she's giving him a tap of the whip. Like, I'll put videos in, like, someplace in this video of her. There's a video of her coming up the field, and she's trying to get him to go, so she's whipping him, but then with the hand she has the whip, she's pulling it out to whip, so he's got his head tilted like that, and she's trying to whip, so obviously he's giving him so much mixed signals, you know, which you kind of want to avoid, the mixed signals with a, you know, a very green 4-year-old, because it's you know, it's just that they're still trying to learn. And not to criticise her at all, because I don't have an issue with her, except for the whole fact of how she is with the ponies. But the way she rides, I think that she does need to go back to work. Like I said, the whole video with her riding, trying to whip him, but also pulling on his head. Like, that's stuff that, you know, you'd be taught to whip a horse if you really, really needed to smack them on the bum. You'd put 2 reins in one hand and then use the whip, not pull your reins, because you're going to give mixed signals. So it's just literally simple stuff like that. And like, she doesn't know about half holds, like inside leg, or like outside rein, or like inside hand, outside leg. Like, she doesn't know things like that, which is fine. I'm completely not the world's best rider myself, but if you're going to break in something, you need to be knowing basics like that so you can teach the horse. Like, you know, she has taken him on a hunt and he has done it, he's come back fine, and, you know, everything's good like that. But it's not about how he is now, it's about how he's going to be in the future. And this is where, like, you know, a few times, not to be trying to be all pity to me, but, you know, I did say to Kiwi, and I'd get really stressed and, like, upset because I was stressed out just because of how Sonny was. He was always very, like, you know, sad looking. His eyes very worried. Like, he did have that look to him, and always isolating himself from the horses, because she's been making accusations that we've been abusing him, which, you know, completely up to anybody to believe, but that is the last thing that ever crosses my mind. Is really, you know, if I have got to give Alice a little smack right on her chest, the first thing I want to do is go to her and, like, apologise. Like, I'm really bad like that. That is the last thing I would do to any animal of the sort, is, like, make them put in distress or discomfort, because I have no interest in that, and I don't really see the pleasure people get from it. Next thing I want to also mention is the attitude she had here. I can't say much because obviously the yard is messy, but I have been busy. Like, I'm working every day except for a Sunday, or I'm in college. I'm in college Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I work on a Friday, I work on a Saturday, I work on Tuesday, and I work on a Monday. So my only days are really just Sunday, and today now I'm going to do the yard because I've only been in the morning. I've got to go back in at 8 o'clock tonight. So I've got to go swim to practice for a lifeguarding course. That's so irrelevant. Sorry about that, I just went a bit off track there. But I was very busy, and she was here every day repetitively. She wasn't working, she wasn't in college, she wasn't in school. She didn't have other friends to see to. She had nothing else to do except for BU, which is completely fine. But I was coming back here after, you know, college is a very long day. College is like 9 till 4:30. It's quite a long day to be coming back and then muck out, you know, 2 horses and clean the yard and do nets. So that's all I ever asked for, was literally to clean the yard and do hay nets, and it just never got done with her. Which, you know, is fine, like, that's not an issue, but she wasn't here for anything. She wasn't paying. She was here for free until she started being like that, and that's when we started charging her, because, you know, she wasn't helping out at all. So that's why she had to be charged. So then that's another point I have to say, is that she's been saying that we are taking money off her, that we're money hungry. Primarily because we literally asked her to pay half on the, you know, we had the big pallets of shavings for 2 bales, and I think that was it. She did get asked once to pay £30 towards Sonny's upkeep. After that, it was just really hard to chase money off her, because she was paying like £30 a week, and it just got a bit like, it's not worth it. Now, really, that's it on the bad spectrum. That stuff that really bothered me. They were the main reasons why she left the yard anyways, between us all. Another thing that I didn't like that she did was, although Shadi, so Shadi there, if you didn't know already, Shadi was our shared Shetland. We both agreed to buy, we both went half on to pay for. And she used to leave him in the van when he was in the van, because obviously Sonny was in his stable. I'd go away after my boyfriend's for, you know, no more than 2 nights at a time, because, you know, I'd want to come back and stuff. I just didn't want to be away for that long. And I'd come back and his water bowl would be empty, or she just hadn't mucked him out at all. Which, again, fair enough if it was my horse, because obviously I never asked her to do Shadi. It was just one of them things you kind of just assume was going to happen, because he was both of our horse. Yeah, and she used to be very short with him. Obviously, he needs a lot of patience, because he's come off the mountain. He's not very lively in himself, because he's still pretty shy. And she used to be quite stubborn with him, and quite, like, I don't know how to explain it. I think you could imagine from everything I've said, she just didn't have patience. What was that? Ah, the lick, nice. She just didn't have patience, like, whatsoever, to be honest with you. He's in a very playful mood today. But yeah, left the yard, I want to say last weekend or weekend before. It was one or the other. It wasn't something, I was quite upset about it, to be honest with you. But I was kind of glad as well, because it just does bring that settlement back down. I do feel bad for Sonny, and you know, Sonny still really does cross my mind. I do miss him a lot. I genuinely do. That's not something like I'm just saying. Like when he left, I was still at the top yard with him going into the box. Oh, I was upset. Like, it does upset you. Like, even though he wasn't mine, I didn't do much with him. I think I sat on him once. But it still really does upset you when, like, you know, a horse like that goes or something. But yeah, this isn't like a dig. This isn't like, you know, anything like that. But this is just, to be honest with you, just genuinely like awareness, and that if someone else, you know, if you're in the same situation as me and like you're watching this and you're really relating, then it's not okay. Like, it's just because, you know, I didn't really know right from wrong with youngsters on how she was with a horse. If you think it's wrong, then it more than likely probably is wrong. Or especially if they're on your yard and they're doing something you don't agree with. Like, my advice would be to just say, like, it's a lot better, because it does cause arguments in the long run when you offload and say, I didn't agree with this, I didn't agree with that, and they're quite clueless about it. So I would, you know, recommend saying to them what you think is right and wrong, or having that discussion with them instead of it going too far, because I personally think it did go too far with us and Keris, because I didn't have the balls to really like say much. The most I said to her was that how much I didn't agree with her taking Sonny hunting, and I did repeat that to her a few times, and she didn't take it into consideration. But a lot of people I spoke with past yards she's been with and past friends, she's quite a stubborn person, which is fine, because that's how she is, and you know, you can't change someone. She just needs to find someone that works for her, and obviously you didn't work for her, and it didn't work for anyone else here. So, you know, it's one of them things. I'm not trying to stir a pot. I feel like I've tried to be as subtle as I can and try to be like as decent as I can, because I am quite mad with the whole situation, especially with her going spreading lies now about our yards, just to kind of get back at us, which is completely fine and understandable, because I'd probably be the same if somebody was exposing me like that. But that's where you got to learn to just not do stuff like that, because then it just doesn't cause issues. You know, she could still be here. But yeah, that's all for that run. I think this is quite a long video. But yeah, otherwise for the ponies, nothing much has changed. There's a Shelly boy. They really need baths, but we don't have any hot water, so I don't really want a bathroom. I am brushing them regularly, and the yard does need a good clean, doesn't it, Shelly boy? Boy, he is so cute. You are so cute. But I haven't got round as well to the chance to lunge Shadi, because the ground is so wet here still. Well, to lunge, we've got the turnout field, but they've turned it up so much that I don't really want to lunge in it, because we're having like snap legs. So the field where I do lunge, which is that one there, and then there is one then further down, so right down there. That is also very wet. So when the weather does dry, I will do a bit of a Shadi routine on a Shadi day-to-day when he's in work. But yeah, same as Alice, but I think I've done a lot of videos on Alice and lunging and things like that. So I think that is it for now. But yeah, this like I said like multiple times, this isn't a dig. I'm not trying to stir the pot, light a fire, nothing like that. I am just trying to spread that awareness, and you know, if anybody else, because it is an awkward situation to be in, you know, there could be things that she didn't agree with that I did, which, you know, I couldn't think of any, because obviously I'm quite low-key, because I don't really know that much anyway, so I'm very reluctant to ask for advice before doing something that I'm not really that sure of. But yeah, it is just important to just speak your mind, to be honest with you, and if something's bothering you, just say it, because it does end up like worse in the end, and it does turn into arguments, and it does turn into tears, and it does turn into, like, you know, horses being split up, just and friendships. Like, it's just one of those things. Or like really in the easy run, just be nice to animals, just be kind, just be patient. And if you don't have the patience, don't buy the animals. I really stand by that. I used to do a milking job, and I used to really lose my patience with the cows because they were very slow. So, you know, that's where I started to kind of think when I got fired then a few times, because my boss just wasn't the best boss ever. But maybe that isn't the industry for me to be in with cows, because I couldn't keep my patience. You know, I do feel like, you know, that is something you can be quite mature about, is as much as you want something. If you can't, you know, treat it right, you can't do it right, you're not being fair on it, just don't do it, because it's not worth, you know, an animal's pain. Or, you know, your name, to be honest, because, you know, word does get around and, you know, people do your thing. That's all for that video. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, if anybody did watch, because I haven't been posting for a while, so I do expect my views to drop. But yeah, I will be getting around to another video soon. I will start recording on Sundays. It's just never really think about doing it. So thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.